whole, let me give you a little bit of who I am here. Um I'm a teacher, I'm an artist, I am apolitical. I literally, since I was very, very young, decided I would not be watching the news. I would not be keeping up on those types of propaganda machines, literally, before I even really understood why. When I first made that decision, it was really ultimately because my parents are farmers, and my dad would always watch the news at night, and he'd always watch the weather and things like that. Every time I'd hear the news come on, it was negative story after negative story after negative story after negative story, and there was never anything positive in the news. And I thought, how is this helping the world? I mean, it's one thing, yes, we need to be informed, but what can we not sprinkle some positive things in around what is happening? Because there are lots of amazing things that happen, and there are a lot of amazing people in the world that do things out of the generosity of their soul, their heart. There's a lot of really positive things that people could be reporting on, yet we never hear about those types of things. So when I was young, I kind of had a pipe dream that was maybe kind of a joke in my head, but also a little bit real, because I'd love to do something like this, where I said, I'm going to do my own news station, and it's going to be called Sunny Side Up, and it's going to be all positive stories with maybe, maybe we need to have, some community awareness about something that's happening, but for the most part, it's positive stuff. And I'm focusing on, send me stories from your community. Let's focus on the positive things in the world type of things, because like I said, there's so much positive, but all the negative is focused on. Okay, so that's part of who I am. And that's really, I have lived a very happy life. Many people would probably say, like when I met my husband, I said, I don't vote. And I'll tell you why I don't vote. I don't vote because I am not informed enough to vote. And a lot of people may look down on me for that reason. That's okay. That is my choice that I don't do it. I don't, there's so many reasons for that, but I don't pay attention to politics. I choose not to, because they really, really mess with my soul. I'm not exaggerating when I say they mess with my soul. I cannot be a party to such incredible gaslighting, straight up lying, saying shit just to get your way, not being completely honest, twisting words. Words are very important, and when people weaponize them, it makes me really, really mad. And so there's, I could go into a whole tangent, but I just want to kind of give you a little bit about who I am and where I'm coming from when I come into this rant. Okay, the other next thing that's important to know about me is I'm a true crime junkie. I have always been extremely interested in true crime, which always concerned my mother when I was young, because she thought I was probably going to grow up and be a psychopath, I think. So she would throw out my R.L. Stine books. It's probably aging myself. If you know who R.L. Stine is as an author, then you will know which era I grew up in. She literally would throw them in the burning pit and burn them after I bought them with my own money that I earned babysitting. And she wouldn't tell me. I would just go to my room to get a book, and then my books would be gone, and then I would get in a huge fight with my mom. So she was very concerned. I am an adrenaline junkie, is part of, I think, what I like about like horror movies and things, but more so I am a psychology. I'm so interested in the human mind. I've always been very interested in psychology, which, again, I'm an artist, and typically what I find with people with artistic minds, we typically are very also into psychology and understand humans and have a real passion for understanding the whys and the hows in the world. Okay, so those are all important things to know about me. So I never, ever, ever used YouTube for anything other than maybe trying to figure out how to, do something. Like I needed to maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that I would look up. Ideas for, gardening or something. I never thought I've always watched true crime documentaries and things like that. I always have been, again, apolitical, but my friends in college used to call me a bleeding heart liberal. So that kind of tells you, I mean, that's kind of the mindset that I have. I give people the benefit of the doubt. I generally think that people are good. Um, I kind of grew up in such a way where it was like we left our doors unlocked. We trusted our neighbors, things like this. Okay, so then when I go to college and I have that mentality, my boyfriend and things in college were terrified for me, like because I'm also in recovery. I'm an alcoholic, and I've been in recovery for close to 20 years now. It's been about 19 years. So they would worry about stuff like that or stealing things from my house or something, in college. And I just was always of the mindset, like, and I've never, I'm a farm girl, so I don't have money. I'm not a materialistic person, and nor do I ever want to be. That's not who I am at all. It would be nice to be comfortable, but, and for the most part, I have been fairly comfortable, just have had a lot of health issues, so it kind of throws a wrench in that. But, mm, and so I was always of the mindset that, if somebody stole something, then it wasn't that big of a deal to me, because I would just say, if they really are going to come and steal something like that, like I would have chairs and things outside of the apartment, and my boyfriend would be concerned because then somebody would steal it. And I'm like, if somebody needs to steal that, then they clearly need it more than I do, and that's fine. Like, I'm not that worried about it. And that's just kind of always been my mentality. So I'm telling you these things about me to kind of give you a little bit of my lens, where I'm coming from with this. So, so, and if you've ever listened to me before, you know that I'm just like a stream of consciousness type of person. So I'm just talking and hopefully it makes sense. I was, what was my point here? I was trying to get to a point. Oh, so I don't know how long it's been now, 3 years ago, I think, when the Idaho 4 murders happened in Moscow, Idaho. That crime just caught my attention like none other. And I think, I think anybody that, especially those of us that are true crime people, I think it gripped the nation. I mean, it was a horrifying, horrifying act. And so if you are aware of that case, you know that it's been completely gagged for the last 3 years. And it has been really hard to get information. Just recently, trial is supposed to now begin in August, and so we are the new judge in Idaho. What's the city? Why can't I think of the city? It's late, so my brain stops working. Where Lori Vallow just had her trial, her and Chad Daybell. Anyway, in Idaho. And that judge has now unsealed the majority of information. Now, he's still sealing certain things. They're still having kind of secret meetings And it's just really frustrating because, um okay, let me say this. When I first heard of this case, obviously it was the the innocent lives, the beautiful children, I mean, I think most of us that have been in if we have that college experience especially, it really hits with that too, because you just think about, I don't know, I think about my college years were the most amazing years of my life. I still miss my college years. They were so carefree. The people that I met, I mean, they're like my family today. They are my chosen family. We all live in different parts of the world now, but they're my best friends to this day. My friends that I made in college are still my best friends to this day. Just horrifying. Okay, so then I'm like, what is going on? Because we couldn't get any information. So somehow, anyway, I'm telling you all of this to let you know how I came to YouTube. So then I was trying to get more information. Somehow, I was cleaning my house one day and I was going to YouTube to listen to some Bob Marley music. And somehow I got into the video part of it. I don't even know how it happened. It was just kind of like the universe guided me for some reason, which is something that I totally believe in, just I'm it's just the universe guides us. I just really strongly feel that. And so then I started finding creators on YouTube and I started consuming all of this information, and you just don't know what you can trust. And I was very new. I mean, I was 100% new to YouTube in the sense of listening to it for true crime type of things. I never ever thought of even doing that before, which is interesting given how true crimey I was. But anyway, that's how I got into YouTube, and just started consuming all of this information. And it got to the point where, I mean, there's so many conspiracy theories. And let me say this, I find the reason that I got into the case to begin with was what I prefaced this with, the nature of the crime, the heinousness, the children, the innocence. I mean, all of the things that hook humans with emotions and empathy into something. And then I could not make sense of it. The information that the media was giving us did not make sense. It did not make sense to me at all, not even a little bit. And so that's how I got sucked into YouTube, because I started trying to find more information. Like I said, I'm a person, I listen to everything from everybody. I'm not a person. I have never been a yes man. I have never been a person that just is a sheeple. I don't just take orders. If somebody asks me to do something, I'm happy to help. If I don't understand why they want me to do it, I ask questions. I don't just ever say, yes, sir, no, sir. I would not be a good military person. I would be kicked out immediately because I would tell people to go fuck themselves. I have very strong opinions on things. I like my cursey words, so let me preface this with that too. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit on the not incessant crazy, but I do like my cursey words. I like my F word especially. And I've always been a person that dances to the beat of my own drum, I guess. And I would not change that about myself. I can be very stubborn, which can be both a very positive attribute and a very negative attribute. It's just like anything, as long as you're using it for good and not for evil, and you're using it to fight for a cause that you believe in, and you purely believe in what you're saying, and then, be willing to own your position, be willing to say, I could be wrong, but this is why I think this way. I love brainstorming with people. I love getting other people's perspective. I hate echo chambers. I do not like being in conversations with people that think that you have to agree with them to be their friend, or you get shunned, or you're stupid if you don't agree with them. All of these things. Okay, so now I am on YouTube, and at this point, I didn't have a channel. I never did any of this. I mean, I'm like the smallest person on YouTube. I don't have any intention of being a YouTuber. It's just I've found that during these particular situations, there's another trial I'm going to talk about with the Karen Reed thing here in a moment, and I've just found it helpful and beneficial. I listen to these people with the Karen Reed trial, and I want to and I am like I said, I'm a hippie chick. I am not a person that comes from that's like an angry, violent person, but I really want to beat the shit out of people when I listen to this at this point, because I've investigated this case. Okay, so let me say that about me too. Like, I have strong opinions, and until I know that I'm 100% factually correct, I am never going to say I'm 100% factually correct. I'm going to say, this is why I feel very strongly about this, but also I could be wrong, and I'm happy to discuss, any other type of thing, right? So I start listening. So I was so into the Idaho 4 thing, and I was getting very frustrated because it was just becoming. Now, let me say, I don't like what I'm seeing in that case. There are some major, major, major red flags in that case. And let me also say this: if Bryan Kohberger is guilty, he should burn in hell. I am never, ever, ever going to say that somebody that is guilty should get off of a crime, even, and this is the controversial part for a lot of people, is like, there's the right way and the wrong way to get to people, right? And to make arrests, and that's why we live in America, and that's why we have a constitution, and we all have these rights and all of these things. Okay, so, and I completely agree with that. But I would say that, just like I'm a person that also believes that there's a lot of gray in the world. I do not live in a black and white world. I can't understand the mentality of people that do live in black and white and say it's either this or it's that, and it has to be this or it's wrong or whatever. I can't. There's so much gray in the world. And so I also am cognizant of the fact that there could be a situation in which there could be somebody very dangerous living amongst us, and they may need to not quite follow the Constitution to arrest somebody that could go on to take more lives. So let me just say that. And I'm kind of thinking that may be why this is so fucked up, but there is some fucked up shit happening in that case, and I don't understand why the narratives that are being pushed. I don't understand how so many people can just go all in on the fact that this man is guilty. We know nothing about him. We don't have any direct evidence from family members that have spoken out. We have some from students. And let me also say this about that. Being a teacher myself, I have been accused, and I often, when I start at a new school or have a new class, and I teach high school, so, I love my high schoolers. I would never change it. But high schoolers are high schoolers. Most of you listening to this either have been or are high schoolers. We can be stubborn assholes when we're in high school, and we should be, quite frankly. That is the time when people should be finding themselves. So, I have very high expectations of my students. I have very high expectations of myself. And so a lot of times students don't love me right away because they don't get away with shit with me. They are not going to be able to just glide through and use AI to do their shit, and write without proper grammar, and not use punctuation when they write, and just all the stupid shit. Like, I expect them to do the work that they should be doing at a high school level, and I don't accept work that doesn't meet that standard. Now, if I have students that are trying and I know that they have, I meet people where they're at. If they have some sort of learning disability, or if I can tell that they're trying really hard, but they just are struggling with this concept, again, gray area. I don't hold everybody to the same standard, but I get to know my students and I hold them each to their own high standard. I get to know what they should be achieving, where they should be achieving, and I hold them to that. Again, everybody has shit days. Everybody has days that they need to just, take a break, go to the bathroom and cry, swear a little bit, take a nap in class, like whatever. Everybody's got those days. So again, gray area. But I want to say this, the only negative things that we have heard about this person that they have arrested for this crime come from students. And it's all about he was very hard on us. Now, there's a lot of this shit in the media about him being an incel and bad with women and hating women. I don't know where that comes from. There's some of that stuff coming from students. So I haven't heard a direct, like a student on the news talking about that. It's all been hearsay. So I don't know how trustworthy that is. But there are sources close to the case that have said that there are reports and all of this stuff. So I'm not discounting that. But then the other part of that is he's getting, I spiderweb when I speak because I get going on certain things and then I want to get back to my point. But my point was with him, this new Dateline thing just came out, right? And they're pushing all these narratives that don't make any sense. So in one breath, they're saying that he's an incel and totally not good with women and women don't like him and blah, 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 right? Then in the next breath, they're saying, yeah, he was at this pool party. He was getting girls' phone numbers. He was, trying to hit on a married woman. And then apparently she, asked her husband to come over with a wink and a look. And he came over and didn't get the clue. But they don't give you any context. Like, did the husband say anything? Did the husband give him any indication like, hey, that's my wife? Or like, they just said, she felt uncomfortable and gave her husband a look and then he went over and Bryan still didn't get the message. It's like, well, what message? Like, what did he do about it? Did he just walk over there? Did he do anything? Like, the whole thing is so out of context. And then there's, and I'm not going to repeat her name. This is another thing that I hate the fucking media doing, and it's happening in the Karen Reed case, and I am probably going to swear a lot when I get to that, because that's the one that really pisses me off right now. But they start throwing people's names out there, and there was a woman that he lived, I think, in the same apartment building with, and they were in school together, and I don't know if she TA'd with him or something, because I think they said something about they shared an office. But anyway, they were very close, and they threw her name out there. And they even said that they, asked her for comment, and she didn't want to comment, but they showed her picture and had her picture up there for I don't know how long. I only watched it once. I should watch it again just to get more details about the whole thing. But like, and said her name. Like, why? Why do they need to do that? Why does the media have the need to do that? Now, for most people in the general public, we're not going to abuse that person. But let me tell you, I am not a social media person. Again, new to YouTube, okay? New to X. Never had TikTok or Twitter or any of that shit. And I'm in my 40s. I'm in my young 40s, okay? So I am of a generation that most of my friends are very social media. I am not. I have never been. I don't want to be. And in the little bit that I have been introduced to it, in researching and trying to find information for a few of these cases that I've been interested in, it's so toxic. And it makes me just want to run back to my ignorant hippie life and not paying attention to anything like that again. And I may do that because honestly, it makes my soul a hell of a lot happier to not even have to listen to this stuff because I have no control over it. And it really irritates me because the people in power have the power to plant seeds in millions and millions and millions of people's minds. And what they call reporting these days or journalism is so bullshit. I mean, I sit and watch on Court TV, okay, on Law and Crime, on on local stations. Like I said, I'm gonna get talking about the Karen Read case. The Boston media should be so fucking ashamed of themselves. I have never been so absolutely disgusted by an entire profession as I have been while watching the coverage of this case. It is so disgusting. And Karen Read is guilty of murdering Officer John O'Keefe. The evidence against her is so incredibly overwhelming that you have to be either brainwashed into the propaganda that has been sold pre-trial and up until now, which is still happening 3 years into this shit, and the mainstream media is trying to sell this shit too. And I cannot believe how many legitimate people with reputations like Vinnie Politan, Ashley Banfield, I have had a very negative opinion of her for some time because she reports bullshit. And I've caught her so many times, it's ridiculous. And so I'm certain at this point that she just says what she wants to say. She supports people that she wants to support, and she just basically lies to America or anybody that's listening. And I don't know how News Nation gets away with saying that they are unbiased in their reporting. That's like their tagline is unbiased reporting. Excuse me. Ashley Banfield has been a mouthpiece for Alan Jackson for the entire time that Karen Read has been on trial. She brought on a person that tried to disprove a legitimate photograph of Alan Jackson grabbing his client's tit the night before the jury came back with a hung jury, because I am pretty sure, and this is my speculation, it's been rumored by people that I trust that they had inside sources and they knew that the jury was going to be hung, which was why they were out getting shit-faced the night before, partying it up like that. Who does that when they're on trial for murder? Who does that while the jury is deliberating, is just out and about, getting trashed with their attorneys? Like, and the attorneys, I mean, it's one thing for Karen Read to be doing that shit because she's a psychopath, but the attorneys are clearly psychopaths as well to be acting this way. Alan Jackson's married. I mean, it's so ridiculous. So Ashley Banfield, calls up some dude to discredit this photograph, which was already published in the New York Post, checked metadata, validated, and furthermore had gotten comment from Alan Jackson himself about the photograph, to which he said, that doesn't mean anything. I was just kissing Yannetti just right before that photo. I was kissing everybody that night. Like, I'm sorry. That's fucking disgusting that you're behaving that way when you have a client. Ugh, just disgusting. He has children at home and a wife in California, and he's in Canton, Massachusetts, grab-assing with his murder defendant client. Again, she is guilty, people, and it blows my mind how many people are in this propaganda machine that have been selling this bill of goods, and it has never been so blatant. If anything good, I'm a person that I do, once I realize how atrocious something is, I have to find the good in it, right? So what good can come from this? There has to be something that America can learn, we can get better about. There's lots of lessons that can be had in this case. You know, there's, if you don't know how I got to this very strong opinion, please check out my earlier stuff on here, because I explain the whole case in detail and how I got here. And if you listen to my very first episode, you will know that I came into this trial knowing virtually nothing. I mean, I knew the theory of the case. I knew of Turtle Boy. I knew he was the one that was bringing all of this so-called corruption to light. And I went into it on day one of trial, and the only reason that I even watched it was because I was so frustrated with the information that was not coming out in the Idaho 4 case, and I was just frustrated with it, because people were just starting to just make up absolutely insane bullshit based on nothing, and I couldn't work with it because I couldn't get any facts. I couldn't get court documents. I couldn't get access to, you know, I did talk to a couple people that knew Bryan that didn't have anything bad to say about him, and had very nice things to say about him and his family. So it was like, again, I don't know what is going on in that case, but what I will say about that is there are some serious issues with the probable cause. They did not have probable cause. And I haven't really gone into that on here because, honestly, I didn't make a YouTube channel the whole time I was investigating that case, because I didn't know, I couldn't get the facts, so I couldn't talk about the facts. I could theorize, but you know, and I was about ready to do that, actually, but then I got caught up in this Karen Reed case, and I was watching what was happening to the people that were involved in this case, whether tangentially or personally. Family, friends, community have been ripped apart. These people have destroyed this community. I mean, from the looks of things, it seems like most of the people that they had destroyed have become stronger, like we do when we go through tough times. But the media is still, like, I mean, there's so much evidence against Karen Reed, but then they're on court TV talking about Higgins going to the police station at, you know, at whatever time he was there, at midnight or whatever, moving vehicles. Like, is that really the most important thing about this trial? Because I think it's the most important thing about this trial is the fact that Karen Reed is a psychopath, and she's flipping people off, most likely the O'Keefe family, from what I gather, in the courtroom on camera, and nobody addresses it. I think that the fact that she was trying to pick up Higgins, and Higgins was like, dude, what do you want with me? Like, what is going on? Why are you reaching out? Why did you contact me? What is happening here? I think that's the more important thing to dissect, because guess who's on trial for murder? Karen Reed is on trial for murder. But all these propagandist assholes want to sit and talk about all of the other characters, all of the other people involved in this case that loved John and or tried to save John's life and are not on trial for murder. They want to dissect everything about them. They want access to their phone records. They want access to their sex life information. They want access to their children's sporting events. I mean, what the fuck, people? None of those people are on trial for murder. Karen Reed is on trial for murder. And Karen Reed's behavior is the only thing that should be being dissected. They have destroyed Michael Proctor's career because they had a dirty, corrupt federal government official by the name of Josh Levy digging in to people's personal cell phone records to try to get any kind of dirt that they could to use on them to try to get them scared enough to drop the case against Karen Read. If you don't believe me, then look at what Alan Jackson does. That is what he does. He gets people's phone records and he blackmails them and threatens them to expose personal things that have nothing to do with the criminal case, but that they're embarrassed about and they don't want the world to know. Okay? They don't want the world to know. And guess what? They have every right to not have the world to know their personal business because they're not on trial for murder. These people were trying to do their jobs and they were trying to save John O'Keefe's life. And in doing so, and in being cooperative and in being helpful, Jen McCabe has been villainized in the community for 3 years. And people still, I mean, this fucking thing was disproven last year. It was literally disproven. The creator of the program at Celebrate, one of the top analysts at Celebrate, Ian Whiffen, rewrote the fucking program to fix the problem that Richard Green's dumbass, who has no Celebrate experience at all, he's not certified in Celebrate, misread the data, misread the way that the data was printed out on their report. And people say, oh, so now Celebrate can't be trusted? No, Celebrate can be trusted. And Celebrate corrected that error. But also, this was the first time in history that somebody has been stupid enough to try to say that a time that was a wall file was the time that it was searched. Like, nobody's ever done that before because most people care enough about their professional reputation to not espouse shit that's clearly disprovable in a court of law because they get laughed at. But the problem with this is that they hired somebody to, whether directly or indirectly, there's lots of information that's going to come out when Aiden goes to trial for this stuff because they have a lot of information about who was contacting him, how he was contacting him. They have bank records and Lexus records. And let me just tell you, Karen Read's family has some criminal history in it. Her brother was charged with burglary of quite a large sum of money from a bookstore that he worked at a college that he met his young wife at. I think he was managing the bookstore and his wife was in college there or something. And yeah, so because these people, so the Reed's father is a socialite, very well known, rich, has political connections in the community, got, pulled some strings, got his son basically off. I don't know. They made some deal so that I think it's like, I can't remember how they did it so that it was like, I don't know if it was like an Alfred plea type of thing. I don't know, but he never had to serve jail time. I think he was supposed to pay it back, but it didn't affect his life on the whole, right? Like he didn't have any major consequences, which is their MO. They do shit that they're not supposed to do, and they just have criminal minds, and they pull their political strings, and they buy their way out of shit and know people high up and get these stupid favors pulled, which is what happened here. And Josh Levy, I hope to God, is being investigated because that man is the one that should be sued, along with Alan Jackson and David Yannetti and the Reeds. But I think the Reeds will be completely out of money after all this. Who knows, though? They've raised so much money for this frickin' innocence fraud campaign. And by the way, if you want to understand innocence fraud and what it is, please listen to Roberta Glass. She is much more PC than I am. She doesn't swear. She's very pleasant to listen to, and she explains this stuff. I think she coined the term innocence fraud because I've never heard of it before. But the reason I'm telling you about that is because like I said at the beginning, I was like a bleeding heart type of person. I would watch these documentaries like Making a Murderer, and I would be like, oh my God, I need to go free Stephen Avery. This man is wrongfully imprisoned, da 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 da, right? And then to come and find out that all of that shit's a load of shit, you know? All of these innocence frauds campaigns, they're doing it with the Menendez brothers right now. The Memphis 3, is that the name of the case? The Amanda Knox, that's another one. That one was successful because it was in another country, and again, her parents are socialites. There's so many Americans that honest to God believe that she's innocent. I mean, it's crazy. Read the court documents. She is not innocent. Even the court that let her go very clearly said, like, your blood is mixed with Meredith's blood, and you know, whatever, she got off on some kind of technicality of this or that or the other thing, but it wasn't, they basically said, like, we're gonna let you go for this technicality, but we know you're guilty. And she's, you know, like the Syed guy, like they're like teaching and preaching about how they're wrongfully convicted. Like, no, they're not. They're murderers that happen to do some sort of innocence fraud, which is very lucrative, which is why all these people participate in it, because there's so much money to be made in it. People like Melanie Little and Aiden Carney and Nurse Kim and Mark Petero and all of these, Mike Crawford and Brian, whatever his name at LTL. And I don't know what the dude's deal is, that he's like a Canton or MSP, I think retired MSP, I think, if I remember right. He's always on the show with Brian at LTL, and like he's constantly criticizing them so harshly. Like, yes, did they do some things that were not great? Yeah. Should somebody that killed a very good man get off of murder because they maybe wrote some mean texts and or you know, didn't have the proper tools to do what they needed to do, and therefore they were trying to do the best they could? And so what? You're gonna just let this murderer off because the actual police department wasn't equipped to do what needed to be done, because they don't do the investigating, and the people that do couldn't get there because it was like the worst freaking blizzard that they've had in I don't know how long. It was awful. I mean, they couldn't keep tape up, like the crime scene tape. They couldn't, it was windy, it was blowing, and people are like, oh, they used a leaf blower. Yeah, you know why? Because he wanted to collect the blood. It was still snowing. He wanted to get the evidence before they lost the evidence. It was either do what he did and put it in the solo cups, or not get the evidence. What would you prefer? Those were his options. Would you prefer him to not get it because people are going to make fun of him and put him down and call him a piece of shit because he didn't have the proper container to put it in? They didn't have it. What was he supposed to do? I mean, it's like, I can't understand the audacity of all of these professional people ripping the police officers, Duty Ron and the dude that's on there with him, Wallace, like, they're clearly mouthpieces for Melanie Little. It is one of the most disgusting. I can't even watch them, and I make myself listen to most of these assholes just to see what they're saying, because I don't want. I just need to make sure that I'm aware of where they're coming from sometimes. But it's awful. I mean, if they would have done this in New York City, I mean, like, again, Ed Wallace, you're right. It wasn't the best practices, but here's the situation. It's a fucking blizzard. They don't do this. They don't have the equipment to do it. And so, and honestly, technically Gallagher could have said, I mean, Ed Wallace, the 5 minutes that I tuned into him last night, it was like, he shouldn't have even been doing it. He shouldn't have even been doing anything. He was supposed to be a supervisor. He had like 3 people there or something with him. I can't remember. He had to send somebody to go get the leaf blower, and then he didn't have very many people there. So he's taking he's taking what's the word I'm looking for? He's taking, not control, but he's taking a leadership role and going above and beyond by actually doing something. Because what's he going to do? Tell somebody to go get, like, it's so ridiculous. Like, yes, there are protocols. Yes, there are ways that we should do things. But guess what? Life happens, shit happens, things happen that we can't be prepared for. And when people step up and do the right thing, they should be commended for it, not ripped down for it. People should take the time to learn the context of the situation, not just immediately say, leaf blowers and solo cups, these guys are so stupid. Like, okay, then they're saying, you're going to blow away evidence with a leaf blower? It was a fucking blizzard. It was like 45-mile-an-hour winds, people. So you're telling me that by him trying to slowly melt the layers of snow away to try to get whatever kind of evidence he could find, he's destroying evidence that's not going to be lost if he either A, doesn't do that at all, or B, the wind isn't going to blow away, or C, if they take a shovel to it, they could potentially break, lose, all sorts of other things. So there's not real great options here. And I cannot believe the amount of people that just degrade these people. And I keep turning on these various reports from mainstream media saying these things about, that's all they want to talk about, is all these conspiracy theories and all of the other people that loved and cared about John and or tried to save John's life and or have gone through hell trying to fight for justice for him. They're still want to talk about their behaviors and what they perceive to be pitfalls without contextualizing it, without giving them credit for a job well done in the areas that they did do a job well done. I mean, the worst thing that I can say about that investigation was that they didn't treat it like a crime before they knew it was a crime. I am of the mindset that everything should be treated like a crime until it's proven not to be a crime. And that's the way that I have learned in watching and learning about crime for many, many decades now. And so when people don't go into something with that mindset, that's the worst thing that happens, I think. Another case is the Sebastian Rogers case. Like, wasn't treated like a crime right away, and I really feel like they lost a lot of evidentiary information in not treating it like a crime. I think everything should be treated like a crime until it's not, okay? And when they, started to realize that it was not just some innocent accident or something, they didn't know what they were doing. So they should have treated, that's the worst thing that they did right away. But then they want to say, well, if she confessed, they would have arrested her. No, you can't arrest somebody on a confession. Like, that's a very simple, actual, fucking thing that people, all these lawyers and people that are talking about this should know that. Like, no, they're thinking that this is his girlfriend. She's in shock. She's acting crazy. They're not taking things she's saying literal. They're like trying to figure out how to save John's life first and foremost. So when she's screaming, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, people are not like jumping to that she ran him over with her car yet, because they can't believe that. They don't want to believe that. And guess what, people? If this was a big conspiracy, they would have been pushing that from the beginning. They would have been like, oh yeah, well, throw the cuffs on you. Like, let's get you down to the station and question you. Like, they were giving her grace. And because they gave her grace, because they were good humans, which is like, I've had instances with police officers and people in power, like doctors and things like that, where I get really upset with them and say, look, I need you to be human and look at me like a human and reach inside to your humanity and understand that this is what I'm experiencing right now and I need a little fucking grace, okay? Like, that's what I need. And that's what the world needs. And that's what they were giving her. And now they're being villainized for it. Now, granted, again, they should have treated it like a crime. So they, really probably should have not let her leave and probably, made her answer questions. But they were trying to give her grace. And they hadn't done their investigation yet. So, I mean, it's like, no, they didn't arrest her right away. She could say I killed him. And then, yeah, they probably would have, made sure that they were asking more serious questions. But they thought that she was just crazy and didn't know what she was talking about and drunk. And everybody was crazy and in shock. And the whole thing just pisses me off. So then when I'm watching all these shows and I'm thinking to myself, every single one of these people, except Julie Grant is the only one that talks about this case, except Nancy Grace. I don't know if Nancy Grace even discusses Karen Read, because the one time I saw her cover it during the first trial, that one reporter chick went on there and was trying to be like, no, Nancy, it's really, like, I think that this is a conspiracy. And Nancy's like, no, she killed her boyfriend with her car. Like, I covered that when it happened, and her lawyer said that it was an accident. Well, I don't know that it was such an accident. I'm pretty sure, based on the evidence, that people don't put their car and drive and start driving away and then suddenly stop, throw their car into reverse, slam their gas pedal down at 75%, and curve their steering wheel to hit somebody. Like, that's intentional. She has a Lexus vehicle. The bells and whistles are going off on this thing. It's got anti-lock brakes. I don't know how she overrode those. Like, she swiped him. She sideswiped him. She said that. So, I mean, like, she didn't think he was mortally wounded. She said that. Why are people not listening to her words? Why do so many people, what is it? What is it that this is like the whole point of me going live tonight was who chooses who gets the good propaganda and who gets the bad propaganda, and who chooses who the media is going to try to get off of crimes, because everybody is still trying to get her off of crime, off of murder. I still hear people constantly saying it's overcharged. What is overcharged about driving your car forward and then throwing it into reverse and driving 24 miles an hour in reverse for 62 to 70 feet and then leaving with bells and whistles going off? And we know that her alarm system is working in her car, her awareness system, because we hear it in her butt dial. Everybody wants to talk about butt dials. She had a butt dial that night where she left a voicemail on John's voicemail that was just her boots in his garage, and you hear her pulling in and you hear her vehicle beeping because she's getting close to the wall. She even says that on one of the freaking interviews she does. So we know it was working. So then she says what? She had YouTube blaring, so we're supposed to believe she didn't hear her bells and whistles going off. They're not just audio. They're visual too. But even if they were not visual, like, come on. That is intentional. That is an intentional act, and that is murder. And people want to say, oh, she's so honest. Yes, she's honest. She's not honest. She lies about everything. You ask her one thing today, and she'll tell you something, and then the next day she tells you something else. How many stories have we heard about John didn't go in the house, John went in the house, John went in the front door, John went in the side door, John went in the garage, I didn't see him go in the house. Oh, I saw him walk up to the doorway, and then I looked down at my phone. Just missed him walking into the house. Nobody does that. If you're watching somebody you love walk into somewhere, you're watching them to make sure that they get in the door. People that drive frickin' Uber do that for people that they don't even know. Come on, people. She's a psychopath. She is guilty. And I don't understand why so many people with very reputable professional reputations have thrown their integrity away for this murdering villain and her high-powered shit attorneys who have also committed crimes. And trust me, I don't know any of these players personally, least of all Hank, but I identify with Hank. I don't think that this is going to be the end of the road for Hank. I don't think he's going to convict Karen and be done with this. I really think, I hope that Morrissey hires him to prosecute Aiden Carney. I really hope that he hires him to prosecute Josh Levy and Alan Jackson and David Unetti and the Reeds if need be. I mean, whoever the big players were involved in this, I hope that Michael Proctor sues the living shit out of all of those people. I hope that they sue Melanie Little and Duty Ron and Ed Wallace and all of these other assholes on the YouTube that are just puking propaganda all over the place, knowing full well that what they're doing are lies. I honestly, there are some people that I'm like, I can't tell if she actually believes this. It is to the point now, you cannot overlook this. You cannot overlook her guilt. Now you can hear the narrative shifting to, well, but it was a bad police investigation and Michael Proctor's an asshole. Like, people are calling Michael Proctor a vile human because he had texts that were not nice about Karen Read. Yeah, they were mean texts. They were vile texts. I will give you that. That does not make him a vile person. He was investigating a crime of the murder of a Boston police officer who he knew had a reputation that was of a wonderful man. As far as I know, didn't know him personally, but in knowing people in the community, knew that he took in his niece and nephew, was raising them as his own children. He knew this was a very good man. So yeah, he was pissed because he's watching this bitch just casually lie to his face, not be concerned, have no emotion, not be grief-stricken, not be crying, and then start a terrorization campaign against everybody that loved John and cared about him. And it's so deep and it's so gross. And there's so many people involved. And it's scary because when I'm sitting here watching a case and I'm watching these people on YouTube that make me want to break my TV because they're spreading lies knowingly. It's one thing if you actually believe. That's why I gave them a lot of grace for a long time, thinking, and Nurse Kim was kind of the one that I'm like, I still think she actually believes that she's innocent. I'm at the point now, there's no fucking way that she can actually believe she's innocent. Nurse Kim would have to be the stupidest person in the world to think that she's innocent. She would have to be. She has been following this case for 2 years. She knows all the court documents. She's watched every minute of the trials. She's seen the evidence come out. She doesn't accept that she's guilty for, I don't know if it's because she initially did get snowballed and bamboozled, or if she's been propagandizing this thing from the start, knowing full well that she was guilty, but making money off of it, like the lawyer and Emily D. Baker and Melanie Little and Duty Ron and Ed Wallace and Turtle Boy and LTL and the Young Jerks and all Carl Steinbeck now, like all these people, Nan Gallagher, I mean, the list goes on and on. These people are doing this to make money. They get hundreds and thousands of dollars in super chats. They get paid for their YouTube views. They get paid for the ads on their YouTube streams. They get other incentives. I'm sure, a lot of that stuff's going to come out with Turtle Boy as far as like, can they actually prove that he was paid with Alexis? Or I don't know if they can prove that. I know there's strong suspicion of that. Like, there have been incentives for a lot of people to spread false propaganda. And so what? Is it because she's a woman and a professional and a socialite? And like, who gets to make that decision that we're all going to back this murderer? But at the same time, we're going to, and she's come out and literally, basically, I mean, she's confessed more times than I can count. If you're a person that understands humans and understands language, you understand that she's confessed over and over again. I am literally convinced that this discovery thing that she did was her way of saying fuck, like her big final fuck you to the O'Keeffes. It was her way of bragging that she got away with murder. Everybody thought, I mean, FKR was bewildered when the jury didn't come back not guilty within an hour. I honestly could not believe if this jury doesn't come back with guilty verdicts in an hour, then I don't know, because like there's I mean, we still have the car data and everything that the important information about how he died, obviously, that all needs to come out. But I know that they're going to present that well this time. So I'm confident that that's going to be very clear to the jury. And the only way that she's not getting convicted is if there is a mole on that jury, and or they are like, there's a lot of talk about this jury being young, and I'm just like, do they not have life experience enough to understand the psychology of relationships and what domestic violence looks like? Like, people that have been in domestic violence or that have some kind of psychology study can usually recognize this stuff. This is a domestic violence case. It has been from the jump, and it's such a simple case. She's psychopathic. She probably has borderline personality disorder. She cannot control her outbursts, her emotions. She has no control over shit. That's why she has all these crazy faces in court. She's actually way more subdued, I think, than she was last trial, though I don't get to see her face really in court like I did last trial. But I mean, from the little bit that I've watched, I mean, she was making faces constantly last time, and like, go get him. Like, she gets off on putting people down. Same with Melanie Little. Same with all these creators. They're putting these other people down. They're putting down firefighters. They're putting down police officers. They're putting down children. They're talking shit about children. And they get off on it. It makes them feel good. That is the most disgusting human behavior, and it is rampant in this case. And it's like, I got so sucked into this case because of the psychology of it, because I wanted to, first of all, I wanted to get to the truth. I wanted to fully understand it, because when I initially started watching it, I thought she could be guilty. I thought there could be corruption because of Morrissey's, honestly, it was because of Morrissey's thing. I've never seen anything like that before, and I thought, this is fucking weird. That's what got my attention. So I went in thinking that, and I gave everybody a lot of grace, as I do, and realized first day that she was guilty. But I thought it was probably an accident. I think I recorded my first podcast that night, the first night of first trial, and I said, I really hope that she has a lot of people that love her around her 24/7, because I'm worried for her life. Like, I really thought, she could be suicidal at this point. Like, I was putting myself in her shoes, and I think I would be feeling very much like that I wasn't deserved of life anymore. Like, I could very easily see myself going there if something like that, if I had caused that, and especially like these children had lost their mom and their dad, and then now they have their funkle, their father uncle, and they lose him. And in the course of that, I mean, Karen was like kind of like their motherly figure. I mean, and obviously lost her. I mean, they have lost and lost and lost. And now John's parents have lost basically 3 adult children. And they're basically now parents again, raising teenagers in their sunset years. Can you imagine? That's difficult to do when you're a young pup, to keep up with teenagers. They're senior citizens trying to grieve and raising teenagers. I mean, the whole thing, it's so emotionally outrageous. And then to watch these people, it's one thing to see all these social media propagandists doing it. It's disgusting enough. But then to see people like Vinnie Politan and Ted Daniels and like all these other reporters, and Sue O'Connell, oh my God, she is awful. And these people on Canton Confidential, they are so awful. Like, this is your city. This is your local police, and you are villainizing good police officers. Did they make mistakes? Yes. Do they deserve to be burned at the stake? No. Does somebody that murdered somebody deserve to get off because of mean texts? No. And mind you, Michael Proctor sent those texts on his personal phone. Were they PC? No, but they were personal texts to a very personal group of people that was his inside people that he could trust and he could vent to about this bitch who killed her boyfriend who was a cop. Like, he's pissed and he's saying how he feels, and he has every right to feel that way. I think if anybody's ever going to be called vile names, it's probably the most appropriate time. If you kill somebody, you've probably earned some vile names. Now, yes, police officers should not be doing that. He wasn't doing that on his work phone. He wasn't doing that in any way that should have been public. He wasn't doing that in any way that was going to ruin the investigation. It did not make him biased. He was not the one there collecting details or evidence or anything that day. It's just, the whole thing is so outrageous, and he's lost his livelihood, and he has small children. I mean, Karen Read has victimized so many people in this disgusting, sordid tale, and so many people are so eager to make up stories to defend her, stories that not even the defense is saying, stories that she's not saying. She says shit, and people literally deny that she says it. You watch something happen in court, and then you go and, like, I'll watch something happen that I'm like, oh my God, like, that has to tell people, like, holy shit, the grift is over, you're exposed, it's done. Like, this is not. And so then I'll go turn on, like, Melanie Little or Mike Crawford or somebody just to see how they're reporting it, or Lawyer, or Emily D. Baker. I can't watch them, but I'll, like, go to a specific thing that happened just to see what they say about, and they're just like, oh my, like, they gaslight, they turn it, they twist it, anything. They discuss every single person in a negative light except the defendant. The one person on trial for murder doesn't ever get any criticism from these people. Nothing. The worst thing they say is, yeah, she probably shouldn't have talked. Yeah, she shouldn't be talking to the media. Yeah, that probably doesn't look good. But, and then excuses for her saying that she doesn't have any sympathy or empathy for the people that have gone through hell. She's laughing about the hell that she's caused. She gets off on it. It is horrifying. It is horrifying. It's horrifying that people in this world can, like, that feel totally fine doing that and feel totally, I mean, she's so blatant about it, and so many people are not only on board with it, but trying to literally help her get off of murder. If she doesn't have consequences, like, she is literally a danger to society. This is not the first time that a relationship that she's been in has had violence in it. She's an abuser. She's narcissistic. She hurts people. She does not take rejection well. She uses people. She gets what she wants, and she laughs in people's faces. I have a strong suspicion that Melanie Little is the same type of person, because I watch her get off on it. She gets off on it. It's so gross. And then people like Duty Ron and Ed Wallace and LTL and Crawford and Bettero and all these people just want to rip apart the police officers, rip apart Hank Brennan. I hope to God Hank Brennan is the one that prosecutes Aiden and Bettero and Bradel have to do their case against Brennan. I will fucking drive to the area to watch that shit, because I would pay to see that shit. I don't know that I would drive up there. That's quite the drive, but I would definitely watch that shit, because that would be some fucking really good TV, because Hank Brennan would crush them like fucking lint, like belly button lint, just flick it out like nothing. They sit and shit talk Superman. I mean, Hank Brennan has systematically destroyed everything. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no defense. There is nothing left. Everything that they have claimed has been disproven in the court of law, has been disproven. Now, whether or not they can prove that Karen Read is a psychopath, I mean, I would suggest that they actually get, a a psychologist in there, but I don't know that they can do things like that in a murder trial. Like, I don't know how you prove that they're a psychopath if people don't want to believe that they're a psychopath, because a lot of times, people don't want to believe it. I don't know how they choose things. Like Jodi Arias, people believe that she's a monster. I'm sure she's got fans too, though. Casey Anthony, people believe she's a monster. But why do people not believe Amanda Knox is a monster? Why do people not believe Karen Reed is a monster? What makes them believe that? Because is it the money? Is it the socialitism? Is it the professional jobs that they have? Is it the people, the circles that they know? Like, what? How do you decide that it's okay for her to murder, but that person is a psychopath if they murder? Like, it doesn't, I don't get it. It's mind boggling to me that people want to help people get away with murder. It's one thing to hold people accountable and, to high professional standards. And yes, we need to do things the proper way, but because somebody abuses their power and gets people's personal cell phone information to try to blackmail people and destroy people, that's blatant abuse of power in the federal government, and you can bet your ass that is why Hank Brennan is on this case, because there is federal corruption. People fail to see. They want to say, oh, he was a mob lawyer, Whitey Bulger's lawyer. Do you know why Hank Brennan took that case? Hank Brennan took that case because Whitey Bulger wanted to expose, and so did Hank, obviously, wanted to expose the corruption within the federal government. They all knew that Whitey Bulger was going to be found guilty. They knew that. They took the case and they took it to trial to expose the corruption within the federal government. That is why they did that. Do you think that it's just happenstance that there happens to be federal government corruption that Hank has exposed? Whether people want to believe it is a completely other thing. They still refuse to believe that there's federal corruption here. They will not believe that Alan Jackson and David Yannetti have literally committed crimes, have literally witness intimidated, have literally set forth on this intimidation campaign. I wouldn't doubt, it scares me, given all of the things that they have done up until this point. It legitimately scares me to know that they have jurors' names and probably personal information. I don't know what they're going to do with that. They are desperate. They have literally broken the law and had zero consequences up until this point, and nobody in the public sphere, like an actual investigative journalist, is actually calling them out for that. That's one thing I really wish, like M.W. Phelps and John DePietro and Julie Grant, I really wish that they would talk about that in the public discourse and bring that to light, because people refuse. Vinny said that one night, was like, there's no way that they were colluding with ARCA. Yeah, they were. It's been proven. People that want to see it, see it. People that want to know the truth, I should say, we don't want the federal government to be fucking corrupt. But when we look at something and we want to know the truth, we accept the truth, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And this is ugly, and it's the truth. And people don't want to accept it, and people want to shove it under the carpet. And it's like literally a psyop right before my eyes, which is what freaks me out so much about this propaganda business, because I'm like, what are they trying to see? How much of the American population that they can brainwash? Because I really believe that they have successfully brainwashed a lot of people, because I don't believe that there are this many people. I mean, there are people all over calling in and, having conversations on podcasts about this, that I don't believe that they have no incentive, these people, to, there are a lot of people that do. There are a lot of the people that are part of the movement are people that, think that they've been wronged by the police and that they want to get back at the police, they want to have revenge at the police, or they want to have revenge at the particular players within this tragedy, like, anybody that John O'Keefe loved or cared about. All of these people, there's a lot of people, and this is a small town, and people have grudges, and the way that they the texts that were read, that was so fucking, I didn't even communicate like that when I was in high school. Like, that was the most immature shit. And the way that I see Karen Read behaving, she is like a preteen, the way that she behaves. There was a clip that I saw of her at her birthday that they were celebrating with some people, and somebody recorded a clip of her jumping up and down. She's my age, okay? She's actually like a year or two older than me, I think, but like my age, jumping up and down like a little 10-year-old girl, like, she's on trial for murder. Like, she has no remorse. The only time she ever talks about John is to put him down, to victim blame, and mainstream media is doing that too. Like, well, everybody was drunk. Yeah, they're not on trial for murder, and John lost his life, so I think he got punished for being drunk. If you think that, he's such a bad person because he was wasted. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Why are they victim blaming an amazing, by all accounts, human being? I've never heard anybody say a bad word about John except people in FKR that want to victim blame him and say, well, he wanted to go drink, so like Ronnie the juror. I don't know, is he getting paid by Turtle Boy or something? Because when he was on MW Phelps, he had a different story, and then all of a sudden now he's going all over Canton Confidential like, oh yeah, I think there's a conspiracy, and I think she's innocent, and he's constantly contradicting himself, like, oh yeah, I think those texts helped her. She clearly wasn't interested in Higgins. Really? She's the one that stole Higgins's phone number out of John's phone, stole it, like secretly went into John's phone to get his phone number, reached out to him, and read him. Literally, if you think that those conversations are him hitting on her, then you may want to seek help from a friend, because that's not what that reads. She's trying to hook up with him. He's very hesitant. He testified that nothing happened physically except that one kiss, I think, if I remember correctly. So I don't know. There's rumors that maybe they had something the night that she went to his house, but it sounded like, to me, nothing actually ended up happening. It sounded to me like Higgins was very confused, and he was like, well, yeah, I'm attracted to her, but like, she is with my buddy. Like, he was very confused. Dudes are dudes. Yeah, she's like, yeah, if you're really interested and you're totally not with him anymore, like, he was trying to assess the situation. But she's like, ooh, don't you? He's like, why are you even talking to me about this? Like, aren't you sitting next to it? Like, aren't they home? Yeah, they're all sleeping. We don't even sleep together. I don't like sleeping with somebody. I don't like spooning. I hate that. I wake up all the time, and I don't like people touching me. And like, it's just like, oh, she went to his house. She pursued him. He didn't feel it, like, was like, this isn't right. And that's how that ended. So, and then she says her very last text to him on the morning that John passed away, she literally texts him, John died. That's it. John died. No context, nothing. Who does that? Who fucking does that? I really think that she gets off on hurting people. And I really think her whole family does. What did Sue O'Connell, God, I wanted to punch her in the face tonight. She was talking about how in the last trial, AJ said that he had hurt Jen McCabe enough. He did enough damage to Jen McCabe. Like, he literally said that in open court. Well, the jury wasn't there. It was like they were having a discussion without the jury's presence. I think he was pissed about something, and Judge Judge Bev said, well, do you want to call her back? Like, you can call her back. And he's like, no, I think I've done enough damage. And Bev was like, excuse me? And he repeated himself. I think I've done enough damage to her. I'm just saying that I want to, da da da. I can't even remember what it was about. And like, just, he's so comfortable with hurting people. He feels good about it. And the people that are on FKR are like, yeah, like you destroyed a human being, a mother of 3, a wife, a community member, a coach, a teacher. Like, you destroyed her. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. What about that is so, like, that is really scary if that is the mentality of all of these people. And mainstream media is only antagonizing it. I know that Vinny knows and has known for some time that Karen Read is guilty. He entertains these both sides, that's fine. But he goes in on shit and defends AJ and Yannetti and talks shit about Hank when Vinny was a lifetime prosecutor. Like, I don't get it. So either he just loves drama now and gets off on the power that he has to spread rumors and destroy people's lives, or he's somehow like in on the grift and part of the AJ Yannetti circle and somehow being incentivized to do this, or I don't know. I mean, there's obviously room to have those discussions without destroying people, without further propagating more rumors and lies and focusing on bullshit that has nothing to do with John O'Keefe's murder. Nothing. Nothing to do with it. And when something is disproven in court, I think people like Vinnie Politan, who is a prosecutor, should say that has been disproven. It has been disproven. And when Hank writes motions to Judge Cannone that say, we don't want this expert coming in, this expert in quotation marks coming in, because his theory has been debunked. And it has literally been proven false. So I would like somebody in the legal world that has Massachusetts law knowledge to tell me, why is that typical? Are judges, do judges allow evidence in that is literally a lie when it's been proven to be untrue, either a lie or just incorrect? Either way, if you want to look at it like it was an honest mistake, which it wasn't, but we'll just say that it was an honest mistake. ARCA has been proven to be liars. Mind you, they destroyed phones. Dr. Wolf got on the stand and said that he got rid of his phone, changed phone companies, and had over 100 messages on Signal with likely Karen and David and AJ and who knows who. Like, he admitted to it. And nobody wants to acknowledge that. Nobody in the media is talking about, gee, is that really, everybody is destroying Brian Higgins and Brian Albert for just literally upgrading their phones and or getting, Higgins explained why he got rid of his phone, and it's because of the work that he does, okay? Higgins, or Albert, I don't know. I mean, he said he upgraded his phone. That's what people do. They had permission to do it. Higgins didn't destroy his phone on a military base, making it sound so nefarious. He doesn't have public garbage service where he lives. That community doesn't have a garbage man. They have to bring their garbage to the dump themselves. So because he has military access and because he drives through there every day on his way to work, that's where he throws his garbage. He always takes his SIM card out on his phone because of his work. He doesn't want people, he could be undercover working some kind of, whatever. You don't want people getting access to that kind of information where he's DEA. Like, that's not difficult to figure out that that's pretty, you don't need that information in the public sphere unless he's charged with a crime. Then fine, get it. He's not charged with a crime. It's nobody's business what was on either of their phones. And everybody still wants to just villainize them and bring them through the mud over and over and over again for years and years and years. But then Dr. Wolf that's totally okay. It's totally okay that he was using Signal. It's totally okay that the defense paid them. It's totally okay that they lied to the court. It's all totally okay. All of that's just totally fine. And the media doesn't talk about any of that. What the fuck is wrong with all of the media? I cannot. And the problem is people like me and all of the people that see the truth don't have a audience of 1 billion people to say, look, here's the truth. You want to know the truth? Here's the truth. I'm not entertaining bullshit that has been proven false. I'm not bringing innocent people in on this bullshit and helping destroy their lives. They've already been through years of literally, I call it terrorism. I call it domestic terrorism. What these people have done with Aiden Carney, Alan Jackson, the Reed family, David Yannetti, apparently the little chick, Liza Little, and what's his face, Alessi, are in. I mean, I gave them grace. I said, they may not know about this. Clearly they did. So, I mean, they're all in on this with Josh Levy. And they have literally set a terrorization campaign on all of these innocent people who lost somebody that they loved in a horribly tragic way. But the person that took his life was malicious, and she is laughing in everybody's face about it. She's literally admitting that she did it and thinking that she should get away with it. Literally, that is what's happening. She doesn't think that there should be any accountability to her. She thinks that her shit don't stink. She thinks that she's the queen of the fucking Nile and everybody needs to bow at her feet. And guess what? All y'all treat her like that. And the media is doing this for her. Ashley Banfield needs to be fired. If News Nation gives a shit about actual authenticity, I really think that they should probably get rid of her. She lies constantly. And it's been proven. I've caught her in lies on the Kohberger case, straight up lies. She just spreads false information to help whoever she's trying to help. And that's criminal in my mind. Not only is it criminal in the sense that you're helping criminals continue to be criminals and get away with criminal activity, but you are lying to the American people in a way that, like, if I don't want to watch the news and if I don't want to learn facts, then guess what? I don't have to watch the news. But if I choose to watch the news, I would like to learn facts. I don't want to be sold a story. I'm not reading a fucking book. I'm not watching a romance novel. I am not watching a courtroom drama. There are lots of courtroom drama movies or TV shows that are amazing and so good and have amazing actors in them. Way better than Alan Jackson and Melanie Little. Those two are horrible failed actors. They literally want to be actors and they suck. People with very low, in my opinion, intelligence think that they're very good. I think that they're like soap opera actors and actresses. Like, that's what I equivocate them to. It's awful. And the media is just helping them. It's just helping them. I'm just so bothered by the way that the media literally, I'm seriously concerned that this is something bigger and this is some kind of psyop, because there's so much disinformation. How many actual investigative journalists do any of you that happen to hear this know? Let me know in the comments, because people that, like Vinnie Politan, he doesn't investigate. He's going to drive to Canton and sit in a bar and talk to people. He's not investigating. He's having conversations with people and shooting the shit. That's easy. Anybody can do that. That's like going to the bar and eating buffalo wings with a bunch of people. Like, if you're an outgoing person, that's like a day in the park, you know? That's super easy to do. I could do that, no problem. That's not investigative journalism. He is an intelligent man, and he's literally outright denied that Alan Jackson and Arca and David Yannetti have committed any kind of collusion. Outright denied it. Won't even entertain the idea. Got defensive about it. Why? Why did he said it on his show, his own personal show, that one is on one of his podcasts, got defensive about it. Why? Why is he getting defensive about it? These are sleazy defense attorneys who I would think a lifetime person that first is a prosecutor and wants to find the truth, which Vinny is constantly preaching about, but he won't actually talk about the truth. He won't actually talk about the truth. He wants to talk about rumors and lies and salacious bullshit. And it's so disgusting. It makes me want to punch him in the face. I had so much respect for that man. And I have lost so much respect for so many people just because of what I have watched happen. And it's making me lose my faith in humanity. Now, on the other side of that, I know that there are a lot of good people out here. I know there are a lot of good people that know the truth, that are fighting for justice, that are using their voice on their platforms to try to get justice for John, and just trying to put one foot in the front of the other one and keep going. But I mean, this has to stop. I mean, who is going to hold people accountable that are in power? We've got the federal government that is dirty, that is in 2 cases now. This Dateline episode, I don't know how many times they said, we got exclusive information from the FBI. I'm sorry, this case has had a gag order on it for 3 years. But now we're getting brand new information from a fucking TV show saying that they got exclusive information from the federal government. Over and over and over again. It's no secret. I mean, they weren't like trying to hide it. They told us that so that we would take it as fact. I would assume, giving their information credibility, you would think that it's the truth, which makes me question it more. How is that? It's one thing where you got the defendant going out all over the place, talking her face off, trying to spread an innocence fraud campaign. On one side, that's infuriating that so many people actually believe her. That's infuriating on the innocence fraud campaign side. Then you come over to this other case where, I mean, it is very likely that he could be guilty. There are some things that came out that look, I don't know how you're going to explain that, but I haven't seen enough. There's so many things that don't make sense in this case, and I haven't seen the facts come out yet, but I am convinced that there's federal government shenanigans going on, which makes me hope that potentially there's like another case behind the case kind of thing, and this was like the government protecting us from somebody very dangerous. But it could be totally not that. It could be the federal government hiding some really shady shit that's been going on. I mean, there have been some major cartels taken down literally right on that, in that area. Literally. I mean, there's like some crazy shit happening in that area. And those 2 colleges are the only things that keep these 2 communities in Pullman, Washington and Moscow, Idaho functioning. So if they had something happen there, they had to do something, or they would lose everything. And there's a lot of, I've dug into this case, and there's a lot of crazy shit. Like, there's some there was a lot of funding at I believe it was at the Washington College, Pullman, Washington State College, for doing what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to gather information and doing, I don't know how they worded it, but it was like experiments with criminal minds, basically, but not in a classroom setting. So I don't know how they were doing this. I don't know if there's just a lot. They were getting a lot of funding for things that sound like they could be very much like, watch the Charlie. You know what? This is a very interesting thing. There's a relatively new documentary on Charlie Manson. It's really strange because both of these cases click together for me in this, but in totally different ways. I compare Charlie Manson, and so it's on Netflix. It came out fairly recently. It's a very good documentary where they're interviewing people that, investigated. And again, it's how much you want to trust the information that we're getting. I don't know, but there was some crazy shit going on, and I really believe that. I believe the person that was narrating what they found when they actually investigated what was going on. And they basically said that that the government was using Manson to do some of these kind of like mind control things. And Charlie didn't even really know it because he was fucking crazy, right? So ultimately, when I'm trying to explain what's happening with the whole Aiden Carney's situation, like, people can say, yeah, he's just, like, free speech, blah, 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 whatever. He is a domestic terrorist in my mind. He has terrorized these people, and he has not been held accountable, and he continues to get away with it, and he has to have help. Because if this was me or you or any other person in the world doing the shit that he was doing, I have no doubt that I would be in jail. No doubt. I mean, I couldn't do the shit he does, so I can't even imagine, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know how it's okay. I mean, First Amendment only gets you so far, okay? And the shit that he's done, the latest thing is saying on his show that he really hopes, he went on this diatribe about how he hopes that one of the state troopers dies in a house fire, and he hopes his wife and kids die in the house fire, and he deserves to die in a house fire, and the other trooper deserved to get in a car accident, didn't deserve to die, but deserved to suffer, and like went off on this tangent, right? What people that don't understand, he's literally created a cult. People don't, they laugh about it and say like, oh, we're in a cult. Oh, they are in a cult. People that are in a cult don't know they're in a cult. They don't wake up one day and say, gee, I'd really like to join a cult. For whatever reason, in their sick minds, they're attracted to somebody who abuses them. Aiden, if you watch his show for 5 minutes, you can see how he treats the people that support him. He's screaming at them and yelling at them and calling them all kinds of names. And these are the people that pay him to listen to him. And like, it's just like, clearly these people are not healthy people that enjoy getting berated and enjoy watching people get eviscerated and hurt. Like, they enjoy people's pain. This is not normal human reaction. People make mistakes. People might do things that are not good, but do they deserve to be brought through, like, have all of their information out there, have their children's information out there, have people coming to their house and their homes and their this or that or the other thing, and being called murderers and being, I mean, it's outrageous. It is out fucking rageous. And it's been allowed to go on. And anybody that supports this, now they make excuses like, well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to agree with his tactics, but he's the one that brought this to light. Yeah, look at the person that he is. That should be your first clue. Like, yeah, he's not a good person, but let's before we get to let's look at that. Like, what does he do and why does he do it? What is his motivation for doing what he does? Is he a person that likes to expose corruption to help people? Has he ever done that? No, not once, not ever. Look at his history of exposing things. He has things called, I don't even know. I don't, like, he has, like, I can't remember what he calls them. He has people that he highlights and just, makes fun of and exposes things and lies about them. I'm sure that some of it's true and some of it's just totally fake, and like people enjoy hearing, you know, other people's struggles like it's game. It's disturbing. So if you look at it through the lens of what he's not doing it to be a person of integrity, to bring corruption, expose it and bring the right people to justice and free somebody who's innocent. No, he likes terrorizing people. He enjoys it, and everybody that supports him enjoys it. Okay, so let's actually look at that for what it is before we get to but, because you can't get to but when you look at that. Nothing that he has said is factual. He spreads constant lies. He was fed the information straight from Karen Reed, David Dinetti, Alan Jackson. This is already in court documents that have been exposed in Karen Reed's case. You can find them. You can get them. You can go on Twitter and get copies of them, for the love of God. There's texts from AJ to Turtle Boy. There's text from Yannetti to Turtle Boy. One of the most horrific nights where Turtle Boy went on rants about calling John O'Keefe's mother a cunt and calling Paul O'Keefe all kinds of names. I mean, horrible, horrible shit. And there are texts from David Yannetti, great show, good job, blah, blah, blah. And then in court, they walk in and pretend like they don't know who Aiden is, but Aiden reported this in the news. So what they're doing is they're getting information from Josh Levy or from their own court documents. They're feeding it to Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy reports on it, and then they walk into court and say, oh, this has been reported in the news, pretending like they don't even know who Aiden is. They don't talk to him, right? So then he finally gets arrested. It gets exposed that Karen talks to him every fucking day. And everybody's like, yeah, I mean, that's his source. It's okay for him to have a source and for him to keep it private. Yeah, normally not criminal defendants and not information that is supposed to not be in the public sphere. That's illegal and it's not supposed to be happening. And then furthermore, that's what we call fraud on the court. When attorneys are saying, hey, here's this information, I'm going to give it to you, don't release it yet, I have to make this motion so that you can expose this and push this out into the public. I mean, there's actual factual evidence of him doing that with Gretchen Voss. Like, this has already been exposed, but nobody in mainstream media actually reports on this. These are crimes. These are crimes, people. This is not okay. It is like, I mean, if Hank Brennan did one of these things, it would have completely thrown the case out. I mean, you cannot do shit like this. It's illegal. It's not only unethical, it's illegal. There's a difference between giving your client a vigorous defense and then there's committing crimes to get your criminal defendant off of murder charges. There's a big difference. It really shouldn't be real gray. I mean, that should be a pretty easy line to see. As soon as you start lying and hiring people to intimidate witnesses and to threaten people and to have collusion with people and lie to a judge, lie in open court to a judge over and over and over and over again, and abuse people that are suffering and grieving and have no remorse for the actual victim's family and loved one. I mean, those are not crimes. To have no empathy is not a crime, but that's psychopathy, narcissism at the very least. Like, I just can't deal with how society is accepting of this. Like, I'm speaking out about it. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't even get involved in politics because I don't want to be drugged into this nasty, toxic world. I have no control over the decisions that the president makes. I have no control over what, our armed forces do. I have no control over any of that. So when I get involved in that, I get like this, and it really hurts my soul. So that's where I'm in this struggle with myself, of do I continue to speak about it? I, really haven't been on YouTube speaking about any of this because it's just, I'm just like, what am I going to do about it? Like, the people that see it and want to know the truth. The people that, the thing that makes this Karen Reed one, so mortifying to me is that it is so blatant and it is so obvious. It is so obvious that Karen Reed is guilty and that these people have been terrorized by Karen Reed, her family, her defense team, and Aiden Carney. I mean, there are facts in evidence in court documents documenting actual crimes, fraud on the court, lying to the court. Nobody is reporting on that. So, I mean, I guess it's like, if you want to know the truth, you'll know the truth because you'll look for the truth and you won't just live in an echo chamber. And if you know what to look, if you're looking for the truth and you find yourself in chat rooms that are literally only saying things that are pro somebody and they never criticize the other side of it, or if they do, it's very like, but, and then they make an excuse, that's an echo chamber. When I first started trying to figure out if these people were just straight lying or if they'd been fooled, because that was why I first got involved. I really wanted to help people. I really thought, oh my God, there's all these innocent people that have been tricked by this and they're spending their hard-earned money going without supper, going without buying their kids clothes for the school year and sending her their last $20 for the week, And there are legitimately still people like that. But I can't reach them. They don't want to be reached. They want to believe this. So I can't worry about that anymore. But initially, that's what I thought. Well, then, these podcasters that had these YouTube channels that I would listen to, because again, I listen to all sides when I'm first coming into it. I'm not just going to say, okay, I know she's guilty now, so that's all I'm going to listen to. I'm still interested to see what the other people are doing, because that's the whole, like, interested in the psychology part of it. Well, I'm like, okay, I reach out to them, they delete my messages. If they even acknowledge me, they make fun of my message where I'm like, can we please have a conversation? And they're like, who the fuck are you? No, I don't want to talk. Like, just stupid shit. Like, they will not have guests on their shows that they don't agree with, unless it's like somebody professional where they'll be like, well, no, I don't agree with you. But they're not going to have somebody like me on there where I'm like, no, here are the facts. Like, A, B, C, and D, and here's where you can find this, and da 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 da, because they know they're lying, and they know that if they have a conversation, that's why, like, Mark Betterow and Brian with LTL and Nan Gallagher and Turtle Boy and Melanie Little and Emily Baker and Lawyer, none of these people ever have guests that they will have an honest, intellectually honest conversation with. The only person that I've ever seen do it was Brother Counsel, and he only did it once with two people that know the case like the back of their hand and can literally show them facts in court documents. But all Brother Counsel wanted to say was arc of this, arc of that. Like, I can't get over that, because one person hired by the defense team, which I get you guys don't think that they did, but they did. They colluded with them. I'm convinced that they didn't actually do any testing, and that whole fucking report that they made was just a falsified bullshit thing, because they have no evidence of ever doing anything. They say they did shit, but they won't turn over any evidence because it's federally protected. I call bullshit on the whole fucking thing, because who's fucking building a potato launcher to throw a fucking glass at a fucking taillight in a vice grip? Like, go buy a potato launcher. You don't need to build a potato launcher. And you don't go into court in a murder trial and giggle and be all cocky about, yeah, oh, we built this cannon, and no, this, you have to trust the science. But you didn't explain the science. You just said, this is not standard, injuries for a car accident. Well, first of all, typically people don't get hit in reverse. They usually go over the windshield when pedestrians get struck by a vehicle, okay? And furthermore, reverse going 24 miles an hour. Furthermore, in the snowstorm, in the situation. We don't know all the details yet, but I am confident that this accident reconstruction is going to show us how this happened and how he sustained the injuries that he sustained. I theorized quite a while ago that he may have hit his head on the spoiler, and it sounds like that's the direction Hank and Dr. Welcher have discovered and hope and we'll learn about. I don't know. I mean, he asked the jury to look at the spoiler, so we'll see, but that's what I thought. And then probably hit his head when he landed. I think that the basal head injuries, I think that is, if I understand Morgan Scott, I always forget his name. He's one of the very few that I really trust. He goes on Nancy Grace a lot. He does Body Bags, I think is the podcast. It's Morgan Scott, but I forget like the order. Something, I'm missing an initial or first name. Anyway, I think if I understand what he explained correctly, it's like 2 impacts from a blunt object. I think that he was hit really hard in one place, and then I think he has an injury on the back of his head, basically, is what I think. That he got hit on one place than the other. And I still don't know if they, if Jen on the 911 call, did she say they turned John over? So was he laying face down? I don't know. I don't know. So I think that he may have had 2, I think he had his head on the spoiler and then hit his head on the ground. And Karen fucking drove away like a psychopath. Oh, God, I cannot even. And all of these people are supporting her and treating her like she is some kind of thing to be admired. Like she's so strong. No, she's a psychopath. She has no empathy. She murdered somebody that she pretended to love. She talks negatively about him at every chance she gets. She blames him at every chance she gets. She talks shit about those children at every chance she gets. She talks shit about his family, friends, and anybody who cared about him at any chance that she gets. If you think that that's normal behavior, I mean, honestly, I just feel like there's something emotionally not well within people who think that that's normal. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If I was on trial for the murder of my husband and I was wrongfully accused, there's no way in hell that I would be talking shit about his family, that I would be encouraging others to be talking about shit about his family, that I would be allowing the public to abuse the people that loved him in such a way. She is the person that all of these people are supporting, right? So if everybody wants to support her, what would she have to do to get them to stop abusing people that love John? They could be wrong and they can prove it in a court of law. If they're trying to set her up and they're really like framed her, they have this 7 million person conspiracy theory from everybody from, the firefighters to the paramedics to the hospital crew to an accident constructionist to, I don't even know. There's like everybody in the world basically is in on this conspiracy to frame some bitch in fucking Canton. I mean, she doesn't even live in Canton, wherever the fuck she lives. Like, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gave a shit about her before this. Like, why would they want to frame Karen Reed? If they wanted to get away with murder, I'm pretty sure that some pretty experienced police officers who have been in the military, who have literally arrested serial killers, probably could come up with some better ideas, like, let's put him in the back of our house on the railroad tracks and make it look like an accident, rather than putting him in our front yard where anybody could see him, and then somehow we're gonna go smash out this bitch's taillight and somehow sprinkle it all over in his clothes, bury it 3 feet under the snow, stick his shoe 3 feet under the snow at the curb, in frozen snow. I mean, like, you cannot believe any of this. You can't. If you have a straight mind, you cannot believe this at this point. But my point is, you also cannot treat people like this. If she had any empathy, and if she was truly innocent, the first thing that she would do is come out on those courtroom steps and say, I appreciate all the support. Thank you for helping me. Please stop booing this man's mother. Please stop, spreading rumors about people. The facts will come out in the courtroom like they are supposed to in the American justice system, of which I uphold. And any defense attorney should say that's where it's going to come out. If they're honest, good attorneys, that's where they're going to fight their case. If they're shit attorneys that have a shit case, they're going to fight it in the public sphere. So that's your first clue. And when they're terrorizing people and blaming everybody except the person on trial, that's a clue. And if you're the kind of person that, wants to root for the underdog, that's fine. But don't do it blindly, and don't do it without looking for the truth. Be honest with yourself. Have enough integrity to say, I would like to support this person, but I want the truth. And if she's guilty, I want her to go to prison, because she murdered somebody if she's guilty. So that's what she did. That's what I hold true to my heart, is that people who murder should be punished and should have consequences. And they should have larger consequences for those actions than somebody who texts somebody that he loves or cares about or trusts that, he thinks that somebody's an asshole or a bitch or a cunt for murdering somebody or for terrorizing the family of the victim. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the person that murdered should have more consequences than the person who's trying to solve the crime and has an adverse reaction to the murderer. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's too much to ask. And I hope our society decides to wake up and hold people accountable and actually do investigative journalism and actually stop lying to the American people and actually care about the truth and care about justice. And if you want to hold everybody accountable for everything, that's great. Do it. But you don't get free passes because somebody else made a mistake or somebody else had a human moment and did something that's not the best choice. But you know what? Like, Michael Proctor owned that shit in court. He, to me, was a hero. He didn't have to go in there and do that. He lost his job because he was honest. He completely checked his ego. I mean, if that meant, most men have egos that's very hard to completely get rid of. He checked it. He did not once make an excuse. He did not once say, but. He said, it was wrong of me. It was unprofessional, and I should not have done it. Period. None of my personal opinions of her affected the facts in the case. He vented to people he trusted on his personal cell phone, and the federal government has a dirty asshole in it that colluded with this dirty defense team and this murderer to literally invade their constitutional rights and without probable cause get access to their phone information on their personal cell. The whole thing is so fucked up. I really hope that this family is going to sue the shit out of Josh Levy, Alan Jackson, Melanie Little, David Unetti, Aiden Carney, all these people that made so much money off this tragedy. Every single fucking law tuber, Emily D. Baker, Peter, whatever his name is on fucking what lawyer, who I used to think had integrity. There's so many people that I used to think had integrity that just completely shit on it. Literally, still on their shows every night after court, when all of this damning information and evidence comes out against a murderer, they want to go in and talk about how the police shouldn't have been doing that and how Hank's scared to put Proctor on. Proctor doesn't need to testify for his case. Hank is there to prove a case to a jury who, if they are not corrupted and if they aren't being terrorized, victimized, or paid, or blackmailed, or haven't been brainwashed, I can't imagine that they're not going to come back in an hour with a murder 2 conviction. I mean, it is so bulletproof, and we haven't even seen the best part of the case. The best part of the case is still coming. All of the actual data from the vehicle, the medical information, the actual explanation of what happened, how it happened, why he has the injuries that he has, all of that is yet to come. He has proven everything except, he hasn't shown that yet. And he will. I am confident that he will, because honestly, I understood it in the first trial, and we all agree it wasn't the best presentation. But you also had a bully, an actual adult bully who gets off on bullying professionals. I mean, Alan Jackson just absolutely loved every minute of just trying to embarrass Trooper Paul for doing his job, for trying to explain how a man who is now dead got the injuries that he got. I mean, it's so abhorrent to me. And we have at least one of John's children, I just call them his children, testifying, who is going to, I know from last trial that she has damning information about what Karen was doing that morning, how she woke her up, what she was saying, the way she was behaving, and even more damning, that John asked her to leave his house 2 days before she killed him, and she wouldn't leave. This is abusive, coercive control. She's a psychopath. And I think John knew it on some level, was starting to realize it, but I think men have a really hard time understanding that they can be victims of abuse, because it's just not something that most people think is normal. Many women think it's crazy. It happens. I mean, Johnny Depp brought that to the world. John O'Keefe is trying to show y'all the same thing happened to him, and he was trying to get away from it, and it was just not working. And it was, I don't know. And now she has all the supportive people that are just basically making money off of his death and trying to free his murderer. And it's one of the saddest things I've ever witnessed. And I've watched it in real time as these people just continue to villainize and victimize and re-victimize people, loving, caring, good members of the society. And they're not holding criminals, evildoers, people who are actually terrorizing people. They're not holding them accountable at all. And it's not only is it infuriating and mind-boggling, it is disheartening. It is like, what is happening? What is happening? Why? I mean, there's so many motives, and really it's power, politics, and money. This is why evil people do evil shit, This is how good people turn into evildoers, is politics, money, and power. It's some form of that, if not all of those things. Everybody has their own motivation. Some of them are probably just ego at this point. Some of them who maybe were fooled by all the lies cannot admit that they were wrong, and they will be too embarrassed. And they probably also are scared of what will happen, because they know what happens when people walk away from FKR. If they have a voice and they try to have a voice, they get terrorized. So some of them are probably scared. I don't know. I mean, there's so many motivations here. I just really worry about that jury. I just really hope that they're not too young to have life experience. I hope that they're safe. I hope that they haven't been brainwashed before they got picked to be on that jury. I have a lot of faith in Hank. I mean, he knows what he's doing. So I hope that, I don't know how if I was on that jury, if I was sitting in a jury box and I had the information presented to me as it came out in the first few days of this trial, I'd be like, why are we still here? Like, we've already, clearly she did it. This is not. But Alan Jackson is just he's got to have 15-hour crosses on everybody, 3 days, to just nitpick about one word difference here and one. accusing everybody of lying. This shit has been going on for 3 years. They've testified in like 3 or 4 or 5 situations. Their words are going to change a little bit. And if they don't, that would show you that they're, sticking to a story if they literally had it scripted and said the same exact thing every time, every year. Like, it's the same content. I would be so fucking irritated. I would be so, not irritated, I would be pissed at this defense team. I would be so pissed that you're wasting my time trying to fucking nitpick innocent people and abusing paramedics on the stand like they did something wrong by telling us that she did or said something that she did or said that day. Like, really? I would be so frustrated. So, I mean, I can't imagine being on that jury and not already being convinced. Probably not yet quite convinced about like the motivation, which is very important that they get. See, in Massachusetts, you can do the federal law where you can say she did it with the intention, knowing that it could cause great bodily harm or death, which putting your car in reverse after driving forward, stopping, putting it in reverse, going 24 miles per hour with 75% of that accelerator pushed down for 60 some feet with all your bells and whistles going off, and anti-lock brakes, and he didn't look mortally wounded. I mean, you don't do any of that without intent. Whatever her intent was, it was to hurt John. Maybe not kill him, but to hurt him. And she made the decision to not help him. She called him over 50 times and didn't call 911. Left horrible messages and didn't call 911. Didn't call or text Higgins or Jen or anybody that she had the number for that night to see, like, did John get in? I dropped him off. I mean, if she wanted to play that card, she could have. She could have. If she wasn't such a psychopath, she probably could have got away with it by saying she dropped him off and blaming somebody else. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to make excuse. I'm glad that she didn't get away with it, but she hasn't exactly not gotten away with it yet either. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the court. But I just needed to vent and talk about how disappointed I am in all of this and what mainstream media is doing. Social media, mainstream media, like there are so few people with integrity left that do their job with actual eagerness to actually find the truth, who actually care. Like if you're a journalist or a reporter, why are you not digging for the truth? Why do you just want to, like, if you want to be a soap opera person, like, go do that. This is not drama. This is not TV. Like, well, it is. I mean, we're watching on TV, but it's not. It's real life. These are people's lives. And I think that if you're a journalist or a reporter, you should give a shit about the truth and not strictly just, conspiracy theories. I like a good conspiracy theory, but not at the expense of accusing innocent people of heinous shit and not holding people accountable who do heinous shit. Like, it's so fucked up and backwards. And I hope that America as a society can rise up and say no more of this shit. I am not going to watch that shit. I am not going to entertain that shit. You're doing this because people tune into your bullshit. So I stop, like, you got to know what you're up against though. So you can't not listen to any of it if you care. I mean, like, this is where I'm at with this whole, like, double-edged sword for me, where I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot because I don't, like, my life is much easier when I disengage from this kind of bullshit. Like, whatever happens to Karen Reed and Alan Jackson, David Unetti, and Aiden Carn, none of that is going to affect me personally. Whether they go to prison or they get held accountable, it's not going to affect my life one way or the other. But it affects my soul when I allow it to. So it's this paradox of I give a shit about these families now, so I want to fight for them. But, the people with the power aren't fighting for them. They're hurting them. They're continuing to spread rumors and lies that are continuing to hurt their personal lives. And they think it's okay because they're just, what they're defending a murderer. They all know she's guilty. You cannot be an intelligent person who's not brainwashed and think that this woman is innocent at this point. Like, there's so much damning evidence against her. So much in court cases, like, okay, Bryan Kohberger's lawyer says that she has an alternative suspect and she has to go. I think it's going to be a fucking private meeting again that we don't get to see, but she has to present her evidence to the judge of who this alternative suspect or suspects are. And he has to determine if there's enough evidence there for her to use it. Otherwise, she can't just blame other people. Like, it sounds like in Idaho, I don't know if they can do the Bowden defense, which I don't know why they wouldn't be able to do the Bowden defense, but I don't know. But if they're going to have a third party defense, just like, they did in Judge Cannoni too, but there's actual evidence. Actually, I don't know this for a fact, but I got this information from people like Kevin and Kate who are there and have really good sources, that Brian Higgins actually has sleep apnea. And so there's an actual printout of his breathing at, whatever time he was supposedly butt dialing Brian Albert and having all these secret conversations about murdering John. Like, there's actual evidence that proves that he was not there. Or not, the fucking police video of him at the police station is supposedly when he's killing John, according to the defense. But yet they're using that to say that they're showing that video to say that he's plotting to kill John with Brian Albert or cover up the murder with Brian Albert. But he's at the police station when this is supposedly, it's like it's a walking contradiction. But anyway, my point is, if, like, the judge in Kohberger's case has not, if we would have had a judge like Kohberger's judge, Karen Reed would be in prison. Karen Reed has gotten away with fucking everything and anything. Literally like experts coming into her courtroom, lying to her face, her literally saying out loud and making the judgment in her courtroom that these experts lied to her, these attorneys lied to her, but she's going to invite them back to testify again. And she's going to overlook all of the discovery violations and all of, what the fuck? If that was Hitler's courtroom, there's no, Anna's going to have some pretty serious evidence. I'm very concerned that even if she does have serious evidence, that he's not going to allow it, because there's something going on with this case. I'm telling you, if he's guilty, he's guilty, but there are so many things that need to be explained for me to not, and there's something else going on. Like, I don't know, but, yeah, it's just the shenanigans that have went on in that courtroom, and the shenanigans that go on with what Aiden gets away with, Turtle Boy. Like, it is insanity. They're talking about corruption. You want to talk about corruption? There's corruption, and it's on the side of these criminals that are charged with crimes, and their attorneys are the criminals that are charged with crimes and their attorneys are committing further crimes to try to get away with their previous crimes, and they're getting away with it right in front of everybody's eyes. It's right there for all of us to see, and nobody's calling them out. Nobody's holding them accountable. The people with the power aren't holding them accountable right in front of the world. And we're supposed to be like, yeah, that's cool. Like, what the fuck? It literally, I think people that that want the truth and want justice in this case, I'm sure feel a lot like me, if not just like me. Like what the fuck is happening? I went through so many different, like, okay, they must not know she's guilty, so I need to help them understand the truth. Oh, they don't want the truth. Okay, then I finally got to the point where I'm like, these people are fucking evil. People like Melanie Little, who sits on her fucking YouTube every day and condescends children and mothers and innocent paramedics and lies about everybody blatantly, but says, oh, I don't spread rumors. Oh, I don't know about that. I can't prove that. We don't talk about rumors. Like, she's saying that shit in one breath, and then she's like, oh, I think that the person with the video, I think that she, I don't know, she had some story about the person in charge of the video was corrupting the video and and reformatting it and doing like just all this crazy shit, like crazy shit. She's saying all this shit, but then, I can't talk about rumors. We keep away from the rumors. But you know what I found? I think that this. Oh, but we don't talk about rumors. Like, what the fuck? She's evil. I would say stay the fuck away from that woman. She is straight evil. She is a malignant narcissist, if not a psychopath. I worry for that woman's children. It's really scary because she talks about getting her children from the bus stop and stuff. So, like, she must have fairly young children, and it scares me that that's their role model. This woman making all of this money, saying that she wants justice for a dead police officer, while she knows damn well who killed him. And she is trying to help her get free. She has cops under her belt, like Duty Ron and Ed Wallace, doing her fucking dirty work for her. All of these people are connected. They all work together. It is literally like Rico. This is what I've been saying too about, hopefully, I mean, if this is ever going to happen, this would be the case to do it, because there are so many people, the Roccos. I mean, there's so much money laundering involved. There are financial crimes. There are terroristic crimes. There are legal, like fraudulent crimes, embezzling, like probably blackmail, probably, I don't know, probably a little bit of everything, right? And all of these people that have podcasts that are echo chambers that never have any conversations with people that think. Brandy Churchwell, she knows damn well that Karen's guilty, but I'm in the middle. Yeah, I listened to about 20 minutes of one of her episodes. She's in the middle. Yeah, not biased at all. Straight, telling the facts from both angles, right, Brandy? Yeah, you fucking piece of shit liar. Disgusting. All of these people know that Karen killed John, and they're all making money on it, and they're all doing it with the excuse that I need to pay my bills. That's the excuse Brandy has. Okay, I need to pay my bills, and I can't get harassed by Turtle Boy. So she just keeps doing it, just bragging about, oh yeah, we're in the top whatever on the podcasts. Like, yeah, spreading fucking complete conspiracy lies. This isn't even like theorizing. This isn't even you being honest, like, this is this perspective from the defense, and this is this perspective from the prosecution. You're straight up lying. You're spreading false information that is literally not true. That's in court documents that documents the exact opposite of what you're saying. So you're full of shit. And all you people are pieces of shit. And I really hope that people stop supporting you, because I hope that they see you for the people that you are, because you're not good people. And what you're doing is the most inhumane, like, you're literally trying to bring down society. If everybody treated everybody the way that you treat people, where would we be? We would literally be in war with everybody around us constantly. Society would literally fall. I mean, we would have war on our homeland here. I mean, it would just be, it's disgusting. So anyway, I gotta go to bed. It's super early in the morning. Anybody that listens to this, I appreciate you. Please feel free to leave messages. I try to communicate with my community as much as I can. I'm, like I said, very small. I'm not trying to be a YouTuber. I just literally sometimes need to come on here and speak my truth because it's like a mental health thing that I have to do as long as I choose to continue to follow this case, and I have to see it through to the end. I just can't walk away from it. It's not good for my mental health, but it's also, you know, I have to find that balance where I can just like, you know, keep up and keep informed and try to bring awareness where I can and call out shit that I can. I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not Vinnie Politan or Nancy Grace, but I have a voice and that's the best I can do. So, anyway, spread love, spread light. I wish you all love and light in your lives. Hug the people that you love. Smile at everybody that you meet. A smile can change somebody's life. A smile to a stranger can change the entire trajectory of that stranger's day. And you can be a positive change. So please remember that, and please focus on being be the change you want to see in the world. Gandhi, that's my favorite quote. Okay, be the change you wish to see in the world. Love and light to you all. Mwah.